Welcome back, college baseball fans, especially ACC fans. It's our last regional preview. It is the Greenville Regional featuring the East Carolina Pirates, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, the Virginia Commonwealth Rams, and, of course, some other team that I can't remember right off the top of my head. Evansville. Sorry, Evansville. That was super disrespectful. And if you need to pull it up as bulletin board material for motivation, go ahead and do so. I deserve it. I am joined once again by Nick and, of course, Micah. Guys, how are we feeling? It's our last show of the night.
I can't wait for baseball to start, dude. Now that we're previewing the last one, I'm ready for it.
Yep, tomorrow. You'll be in Raleigh. Mike is going to be in Athens and Clemson. He'll be in Clemson first tomorrow for their early game, I believe is what he said. So we're excited. But first, let's talk Evansville. Who wants to talk Evansville?
I want to first say shout out to the Evansville Aces on their first ever NCAA tournament appearance. That is obviously super cool for them. They also had to battle through. I mean, this is the team that took down Indiana State, or at least won Indiana State's conference. I think they actually didn't meet in Indiana State in the tournament or in the conference tournament, excuse me. But this is a ball club that's actually quite dangerous, right? Let me pull up the stats. I had it in front of me. I didn't know which one we were doing, Monty, so I didn't jump the gun on.
No worries. I will say they do have the second best player by WAR in the region in Mark Schallenberger, who's got a 4.77 WAR, which is rather impressive considering the guys that you have on the other three teams.
So my favorite thing about this, Monty, is did you know that Evansville's RPI is only one spot difference than VCU?
Doesn't surprise me. I was surprised that VCU is a 3 seed.
Yeah, and the best part is Evansville actually has a tougher strength of schedule. So
AJ said their left fielder can ball out. That is Mark Schallenberger. He can ball out.
Yeah, and Evansville is a pretty good. Like you look at their offensive statistics are fantastic. They are the second best hitting team based off average in this regional. And fun fact, Wake fans, that's actually they're higher up in average than Wake. They're overall just they're a pretty balanced team. I mean, Monty, I rode with VCU a little bit more confidently than Evansville because of you and how much you love the Rams. But Evansville might actually, honestly, Evansville, I think, might deserve to be the 3 seed more than VCU.
I mean, I think we may find out rather quickly, right?
True.
They may play each other on Saturday, and we could find out very quickly.
Yeah, they'll play each other Saturday night, right?
Saturday night, Saturday morning, one way or the other. But yeah, no, I was surprised VCU was a 3 seed. I think it's a very favorable 3 seed for Wake Forest. They're going to go with Falco to start against VCU, and I think that's the right move. You're not normally going to see that move from a 2 seed, but I think in this case it's going to be a very good move to save Chase Burns for the hopeful winners game on Saturday. Evansville, they're going to have a tough case against Zach Root, who's been very, very good this year for East Carolina on Friday night, which sets up a potential Trey Savage, although he may not pitch. He's still coming back from a collapsed lung. He could be facing Chase Burns in the Saturday game, and I would do dirty things to be able to see that.
Like how?
This is a family show. We can't get into
8:27 p.m. Monty. It's not even like CBC After Dark here. What are we doing?
I just want to see that
walking
pitching
off the
matchup.
stage for a minute now.
Here's a good question before we get started into some of the team breakdowns. We've already kind of started with Evansville. AJ asked, who is better built to lose the 1-0 game and still win the region, Wake or East Carolina?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
Are we assuming that I'm gonna say Savage? You Savage, right? Am I tripping right now? Okay, I don't know why my brain is like that's wrong. Are we assuming that he's pitching the Saturday game no matter what?
I don't know. I've not heard anything about his health.
Based off what we know, I think the answer should be Wake because we just know that Chase Burns is going to be the guy in that 0-1 game if that's the case, right? So I think I'd have to say Wake just purely for that reason. But, I mean, I'm going to say this is an ACC show. ECU might have the best home field advantage in this tournament. Honestly, like that fan base is insane.
I mean, they're up there with Mississippi State and LSU fan base home advantages, and neither of those teams are hosting. So I don't think you saying that is crazy.
It's probably them, Arkansas, and A&M, right? Those are the three, and we can throw Clemson in there too.
Yeah, I would say those are
probably the top four. And because ECU's ballpark is so condensed, that's kind of why I'm giving them that name. And I mean, they're already talking about how they're going to sneak in makeshift megaphones, and I mean that fan base is incredible. Like ECU fans, respect to you, but I think that could play a factor too. And again, like really just depends on who they're paired with, because I think if I'm East Carolina, let's say they're playing VCU, I like ECU's chances to beat VCU in an 0-1 game better than I think Wake beats, let's say, Evansville in an 0-1 game.
Yeah, here's the thing with VCU that I want to throw out there is it's really on offense, it's the Brandon Ike show, and then that's it, basically. They've got some decent guys down, around him in the order, but none of them are big-time players like Brandon Ike is. He's a former UNC Tar Heel. He's the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year, but just looking at the WAR, he's got a 4.28 WAR, and then nobody else is within, 2.4 points of him in WAR on his own team. So offensively, that's who they've got. And then pitching-wise, they've got a really good couple of relievers in Brian Curley is one of them. He kind of pitches similar to he pitches starter numbers, but typically comes in like the third or fourth inning and then pitches the rest of the game. So he's not really a true reliever, although he pitches as a reliever. But talking about VCU, does VCU have any chance to upset Wake Forest tomorrow night, Micah?
Tomorrow. I'm sorry, I don't
tomorrow
want to shake my head. No. Yes, the answer is yes, because the Wake Forest bullpen, we know that they're capable of being really, really good, but we've seen outings where we just kind of go, like, Nick, you can speak to this, right? We know Falco, when he's on, he's incredible, but he's had some really rough starts. And again, not to be the negative Nancy, ECU fans have made it very clear that they are going to be cheering for VCU in this game. So it's going to be a pretty hostile environment for being a neutral site game. So, yeah, I kind of lean, again, yeah.
What do you think the chances are, 0 to 100%?
40%.
I think that's a pretty good number.
Like, I would still say Wake's the favorite. I'm no spoilers, but I am picking Wake to win. But It's about as close as I can say Wake's going to win. Because again, too, like I've been preaching this, Monty, and Nick's probably tired of me because I talked about it a ton on the Tuffy Talk. But so many of these regionals have been, I mean, literally there are people, like Georgia Tech people today, complain they couldn't buy tickets to Saturday night's game against Georgia. It's like, you haven't even beaten UNC Wilmington yet. Like, you need to beat them to be playing in that night game. Same thing, like everyone's just assuming it's Wake and ECU on Saturday night in Greenville. And that's a fair assumption, but like there's just so much. Again, I said it on the Tuffy Talk with NC State and South Carolina, right? Everyone's just applying like LSU, North Carolina. Nobody's even talking about Wofford. Like it's driving me nuts because it's like VCU and Evansville are both dangerous enough to beat their 1 or 2 seed matchup here. And
we see these upsets every year too. They may not ultimately win the region, but we see these opening night upsets all the time.
Yeah.
Nick, what are your thoughts? What do you think? You think their chances of an upset are as high as Micah thinks, or?
I think it's a little bit lower. I would say 30%. I mean, I've seen this VCU team. They almost won 2 out of 3 against NC State in the beginning of the year. Also, I think what's kind of benefiting Wake that no one's really talking about right now is that you got yourself an extra pitcher in that bullpen in Michael Massey. I mean, he's not starting, but he's coming out of the pen. And if we see 2023 Michael Massey out of the pen, that bullpen can just turn around. Maybe it's the extra shot that they needed. Like when they got Cole Rowland back in the middle of the season, maybe it's another boost for them if Michael comes out of that pen if they need him. So I feel a little bit better. Also, Joe Areola is another name to keep an eye on out of the bullpen because he has been very good. He looked so good Friday night against UNC. No one was touching his curveball at all. So the bullpen, I feel a little bit better about before going into the ACC tournament. It seems like a lot better right now.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see. I mean, the other thing is, I feel a lot better about ECU winning this regional if everyone they've got is healthy. You know what I mean? So and we don't know for sure about USavage, but it's gonna be really interesting. ECU is very, very good. Carter Cunningham, Riley Johnson, Jacobs Jenkins Cowart, and Jacob Starling. Those are 4 guys in the lineup that are very good. And I think because how good USavage, Root, and Wyatt Lankman, Wyatt Shankford,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, words are hard.
What you said, Monty.
I need to read it. I need to find his name and read it. But he's very, very good. I think those 3 pitchers have overshadowed the offense a little bit, and I think ECU's offense seems to be a little bit underrated. If they're completely healthy, they are the best team in this region, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win. Nick, how are you confident in Wake Forest this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're very amped up to be in this regional. I think they're very excited to. I know they are upset that they didn't get to host, but it's a different kind of mindset when you're going to a place you haven't before, and that's all they ever talk about in North Carolina in terms of college baseball is the destination is the jungle. So I think they're very excited. I think they're going to be up for it. I feel really good about them passing through this regional.
Wow. Micah, you feel confident for Wake Forest?
I feel confident for Wake Forest just because, again, this team has been to Omaha, right? There's a decent amount returning from last year. I do think that this type of ballpark plays pretty well for Wake. I think giving Wake the chip on their shoulder, right, not getting to host, highest RPI team that I can find ever to not host, might not be ever, but from what I could find, you look at the numbers and pretty much everything minus conference record says that Wake should host this and not be going on the road. So I do like that chip on your shoulder. And Nick, I think it's perfect because I kind of forgot that Massey he's back. I mean, he's not 100%. He's not stretched out the way I think they want him to be, but he looked good, right? I think they're ready to kind of let him roll, and that's going to be beneficial as well. Plus, again, I think ECU is going to have to work against Evansville. I really do. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if that is the 1-4 upset we see.
I mean, Zach Root. If Zach Root wasn't pitching, I'd be more confident in Evansville. But yeah,
would you guys say that this is the closest competition of any regional? Would you say anyone could win this one?
No, I don't think VCU and Evansville could win the regional. I think they could win any game.
I think on paper, yes, Nick. But in terms of what we know about the hostile environment of ECU and the leadership that Wake Forest has, the experience of Omaha, no.
Yeah,
Evansville has never been to a tournament ever. I think they're going to be kind of starstruck to be there. I don't mean that in a negative way, Evansville people, but I mean I just don't feel like this is going to be a whole different environment. But again, Evansville, by the way, I did look it up, Monty. They did beat Indiana State in the championship, so clearly they can beat good baseball teams. But I mean, this is going to be. I mean, this is probably the regional I'm most excited for. I wouldn't be surprised if they're one of the 3 or 4 regionals playing on Monday.
Yeah, but you didn't want to go.
Huh?
Nothing.
What'd you say?
I said you didn't want to go.
What did I say? I didn't want to go. There was, the reason why I wasn't sure I was going to go. Now, Monty, knowing what I know now,
I will tell you. Noah asked me on yesterday. Was like, "Hey, you want me to do credentials for you for East Carolina?" And I was like, "It's Wednesday. I'm good. I've made my decision. I'm sticking in Charlottesville. It'd be a different story if somebody asked me, on Monday. But I was like, okay, I didn't know that was an option. But let's get into our picks. Micah, go ahead and hit us with your 4 through 1, big boy.
So I actually just tweeted it. So free plug for myself because you'll see all of my picks 1 through 4, including my Omaha 8. I have Evansville go. Dang. All right, Monty. Damn. I'm going to cry in the corner now.
You were taking too long to get into it.
I've got the Evansville Aces going in fourth. I've got VCU third. Honestly, after our conversations, I already posted the graphic. I consider flipping those, but that's besides the point. And I have the Wake Forest Demon Deacons winning this regional. This is going to be played on Monday.
I'm going with East Carolina. I think their dreams of Omaha are going to be dashed in the supers, unfortunately, because of Tennessee and how good Tennessee is. But I'm going with ECU to win this region. I think it's going to be Wake Forest second, Evansville third, and VCU fourth. Nick?
I think the Wake Forest Demon Deacons are coming out of this regional. I got ECU second, VCU third, and Evansville fourth.
All right. Well, there you have it. The two guys, the two ACC FQ guys, the FQ ACC guys. ACC just means less. They're going with their homer picks. I'm going with the jungle. This is our last regional preview. These will all be available on podcast. I'm sending them over to Micah right after this so you can re-listen. They're also on the YouTube live section of the CBC account. Micah, any final thoughts?
No. Nick said it on our last show. I just can't wait for baseball.
I don't remember him saying that. I'm pretty sure you just came up with that. Nick, go ahead.
Nick, confirm that you said that.
Well, I said it in the beginning of this show.
I muted him so he can't say anything. I'm just kidding. He's back.
You just gave Nick the Jake treatment. Only I should be getting the Jake treatment.
I said it in the beginning of this show. So,
yeah. See, he never said it.
Yeah, I can't wait for baseball. I can't wait to go to my first Raleigh regional. I'm very excited for that. And I can't wait to just keep track of all these games going on. It's one of the better times of year. So tomorrow starts the madness, man.
Yep, it's going to be great. Everything gets started, and we will see you on the flip side. We'll be covering. Micah's going to see you before then, I think, 'cause he's got a show.
Yeah, Monty, we'll talk about that in a minute because the more I think about it, we'll talk about what platform we're going to put it on. But we'll have it on. It'll be retweeted regardless, whatever happens.
Yep.
But
so for Nick and Micah, this is Monty. We will see you next time.